Welcome to the iPad Podcast, a weekly podcast from Mac's Future.
Okay, welcome to episode 109 of the iPad Podcast. This is Lex at Mac's Future, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get to it. This is a chit-chat-free podcast all about the iPad and iPad-related news, iPad-related devices, and all sorts of iPad stuff, so let's get to it. Okay, so one of the big things that's going on this week is that the big trial between Apple and Samsung is wrapping up. It went to the jury, I think, on Wednesday of this week. Today is Thursday. And the jury is deliberating, and these are claims by Apple that Samsung has been copying Apple both with the iPhone and the iPad, and Samsung sort of trying to make some claims that Apple violated some of what are known as FRAND patents. And I guess a lot is at stake. I mean, Apple's suing for about $2.5 billion worth of damages. Samsung is suing a little under $500 million in damages, but it's not really the money. Apple wants, the jury to find that Samsung violated all sorts of patents, and that then have the judge issue an injunction from violating those patents, because I think Apple then hopes that Samsung won't design things like tablets or smartphones that look so similar to the iPhone and the iPad. And NewsDay had a headline, Apple v. Samsung iPhone iPad patent trial wraps up. So it's a very exciting trial. Now, one of the cool things is, Apple's closing was pretty good. This is the closing argument to the jury. And someone put up on Scribd, somebody got a hold of something like 90 plus slides that Apple used to do its closing. And I thought there was a pretty compelling argument by Apple just looking at the slides. And the slides sort of start off, if you're looking at the video version of this, with like a slide of both Scott Forstall and Apple's designers, Christopher Stringer, and some key testimony by them, and smiling pictures of them. And then going into how Apple really changed the world with the launch of the iPhone in 2007, and they show the iPhone and Steve Jobs presenting it, but then they get right into a key admission by the defendants that the next slide is a picture of a Samsung designer, a picture of her smiling, and then basically key admission by her in the testimony that they spent 3 intense months copying the iPhone, going through it very closely. And one of Apple's big exhibits is Exhibit 44, which is an internal Samsung slide that shows that Samsung very carefully went through every aspect of the iPhone copying, and they got a slide that shows a citation to that. And then they go back to a slide of her showing how important it is, and then they have a slide showing how after the copying started in 2010, Samsung smartphone sales really zoomed. That the iPhone came out in 2007, but it wasn't in 2010 until they started copying that there was really a lot of sales. And then they have a slide that shows that after they started copying, how similar the iPhone looks to the or the Samsung phones look to the iPhone, and the same for the front of the interface. And they have also slides showing that certain key witnesses at Samsung got notice from Apple that they were copying and still continued to copy. And it's a very, very, very cool series of slides. Let's see, they also have one. They go through the infringing patents. And then they discredit Samsung's witnesses. They point out that in one slide that Apple called this guy who's the president of, a design institute or something, and that Samsung hasn't called anybody. And they also, they do that several times. They'll have a picture of an Apple person who testified as an expert, but then on that same point they'll have a black silhouette of an empty person and with a question mark, sort of saying that Samsung hasn't produced anybody. So overall, I think Apple has the upper hand on this highly contested lawsuit, and I think they're going to win. I mean, I think there's a good chance that the verdict is going to come down on Friday, because I think a lot of jurors don't want to sit till Monday. The trial, they started deliberating on Wednesday, and this is a civil case, and I think 3 days is plenty. Now, Nilay Patel at TheVerge.com, he's been tweeting about how complex this case is, and that, the poor jury, they're going to have to wade through a very complicated, jury verdict sheet, and that it's going to take a long time for them to decide. And I disagree. I think the case is kind of simple, because you look at these phones, they look like they're copied. They look so similar, the iPad, and I think the jury, having sat through all the evidence, I think they're going to start making decisions, and I think they're going to try to get out of there before the weekend. So overall, I think Apple has a good chance of winning this case. And I don't think it's the end of innovation. I think it's the beginning of innovation, because, look at Microsoft. Microsoft is coming out with the Surface. They're not making it look exactly like Apple's iPad. There's ways to innovate, and Samsung, instead of copying, has to learn how to just make its own unique design. So I think there'll be more innovation if Apple wins, not less. Now, even while copying Apple, Samsung continues to have trouble keeping up with Apple, and recently they came out with a tablet to compete with the iPad, the latest Galaxy. They seem to call everything Galaxy, and this is the Samsung Galaxy 10.1, but it seems like everybody says that it really stinks. And the Boston Globe here, for example, says Samsung's new Galaxy shoots for iPad misses. And it says that that it's not really good here. Let's see, what does it say? It says at the end, and Samsung's got an even bigger problem. Android, the software just doesn't have the elegant, intuitive look and feel of the iPad. Besides, relatively few of Android's hundreds of thousands of apps have been optimized to run on tablets. Google won't say exactly how many, but it's surely not nearly as many as Apple, which boasts 225,000. And it goes on to say Samsung is already drawing blood from Apple in the vital smartphone market with superb handsets like the Galaxy S3. Perhaps it could attain equal success in tablets, but not yet. So this article in the Boston Globe is by Hathaway Bray. But it wasn't just here. In many other spots. Let's see. Daring Fireball had a nice link I remember seeing. And it was basically the someone who is a Android fan who basically says that the latest tablet by Samsung really stinks. So it's not just Apple lovers. Now, tablets are continuing to grow in popularity, particularly the iPad, and Digitimes, that I guess Taiwanese newspaper, is basically saying that tablet PCs expected to surpass notebook sales in the third quarter of the 2012. So this is an article which says that tablet PCs are expected to surpass notebook sales in the third quarter as new models are about to hit the market, according to industry sources. And it says here, it is estimated that as many as 20 to 30 million low-end tablets will be sold in the third quarter alone, which will influence Ultrabook sales, said the source. Now, I think the big, smaller tablets that are going to come out, in addition to the Nexus 7 that Google released and, let's say, some sort of Kindle Fire update by Amazon, everyone predicts that on September 12th that Apple will release a smaller iPad that's also cheaper. And I think that's going to sell like hotcakes. So I do think that more and more tablets are going to be accessible to more people. And I do think the fallout's going to be on traditional PCs. So this isn't surprising a story. In fact, there's been various stories that say that HP and Dell missed or didn't do well in their earnings recently because of the iPad. USA Today had an article out recently saying HP Dell feel earnings sting from iPad domination. The article by Scott Martin of USA Today says that Hewlett-Packard on Wednesday this week reported sliding sales and profits in its most recent quarter, and it says that the reason is because consumers continue to flock to tablet computers in a mobile revolution led by Apple. It says here that HP delivered $8.9 billion loss in its fiscal third quarter as a result of an $8 billion write-down for its acquisition of the firm EDS in 2008. But it goes on to say that, HP is suffering in terms of PC sales because of the iPad. So, and, Dell is also, I guess, has a lot of problems because of that. And that's, I think, because we're going through a paradigm change where people are really using things like the iPad instead of personal computers.
Okay, so one of the goofier stories, or maybe sad stories, is that, as you know, somebody broke into Steve Jobs' house and stole his computers and stuff. But it turns out the guy who stole this stuff gave one of Steve Jobs' own iPads to somebody known as Kenny the Clown. So this got a lot of publicity. CNET had a story: Steve Jobs' stolen iPad lands in the hands of Kenny the Clown. So apparently this guy, Kenny the Clown, is a 35-year-old guy named Kareem McFarlane. No, actually, he's a friend of the Kareem McFarlane. Kenny the Clown is not Kareem McFarlane. Kareem McFarlane is the one who confessed to breaking in and stealing stuff. But Kenny the Clown, whose real name is Kenneth Kahn, said he had no idea that the iPad was stolen or that it belonged to Steve Jobs. And he said he'd be using the tablet to play songs for kids during his clown performances. So maybe somewhere up there in heaven or in iCloud land, Steve Jobs is smiling that at least a clown, that at least good karma is that at least if the guy stole his iPad, he gave it to a clown who, helps children or entertains children. So maybe that's a nice, happy twist. Although the iPad's back. I mean, Kenny the Clown did not keep it. One of the things that I've been warning people about is to be careful with your iPad or iPhone because, thieves like to take them. And, here's a reminder. There's a story in the New York Daily News, I guess, that came out August 22nd, Wednesday. The headline is, "What the hell? Heartless thief knocks down 3-year-old girl, steals her iPad." So this is pretty outrageous. It says, but this, I guess, happened in Houston, Texas, not in New York. It says, a little girl in Houston was the victim of robbery in broad daylight on Tuesday when a stranger knocked her down and stole her iPad. This story is by Mina Hart Dorson, and it says her mother, who spoke to KPRC TV News but decided not to be identified, said the robbery happened when a woman approached her daughter while she was momentarily preoccupied with her 9-month-old baby. The article says, when I turned around to grab the baby from the car seat, she came running forward to her and knocked her down and took her iPad. And said that she noticed the woman walking with a man from a neighboring apartment complex and believes they were intentionally targeting her and her daughter. So this is pretty outrageous. I mean, people are stooping to all sorts of things to get these iPads because, some of them can be expensive and there's a huge demand for them. I do think that Apple should create a database where you can report the internal serial number that you can't get rid of an iPad. And if it's stolen, Apple should nuke it. Disable it. Apple could probably find the iPad either through a Wi-Fi connection or cell data connection, and anytime anybody hooks up to the internet, Apple should nuke any iPad that's connected somehow to Apple servers. That would cut down thefts, I think. I know it's kind of creepy to think that Apple could nuke your iPad, but if people have stolen it, what do you care, right? I mean, we don't want thieves using our stolen iOS devices. Okay, so, we've seen many contraptions for the iPad, but I think one of the coolest things that I've ever seen is something that essentially turns your iPad almost into a remote control robot. And it's something that's called Double. And digitaltrends.com has a story on it, but it costs $2,000, $1,999. So apparently there's something called Double Robotics, And the maker claims it offers, quote, the most elegant way to be somewhere else in the world without flying there. And basically, it's got a motor, a pair of wheels, and it's sort of like the Segway in that it can balance itself. And you can control it remotely using the Double app on the iPad, on another iPad. And it allows you to basically move your remote iPad around and go up and down and into places. And it apparently weighs 15 pounds, and so it can't really cause a lot of damage. And basically a California company created, I guess, called Double Robotics, and they have a little video I think we can show you. It's doublerobotics.com. And here's the Vimeo video, and I don't know, let's see if we see anything, but basically I think it's a cool concept. I mean, they show somebody in one place, and then this like robot comes along that's got like the iPad as a head. So the idea here would be that you can remotely control it, and they say it could be used, let's say, in museums. You could have people in like use one of these things remotely to go around a museum remotely and look up close to, you know, paintings and stuff like that, or to monitor a factory. You know, there's obviously robots, but what's cool is there are ways to sort of take the iPad interface, which is ubiquitous, and then allow it to, you know, become, you know, something else. And we've seen that with musical instruments and stuff like that. So this is really, really cool. It's called Double Robotics. I don't know when it's going to be available. You can pre-order it for $2,000, and then it's going to be, I guess, sold for $2,499. It says the first batch is going to ship in December, with orders going out in early 2013. So you go to doublerobotics.com. Let's see if we can see the, here's the website, Double Robotics. So you can pre-order it. I mean, it is a lot of money, but, you know, I think this is very cool. I'd love to see the price drop, but I think this is the kind of clever stuff that you can do with the iPad. One thing that keeps growing is the use of the iPad in the enterprise and in schools. There's an article in, I guess, the Star Tribune, which is in, I think it's in Minnesota, and it says, on campus, this is an article by Jenna Ross that came out on the 22nd of August. It says, on campus beat, Gustavus will try recruiting via iPad. And basically there's a college called Gustavus College, and it's trading paper for an iPad app. It says, before the college made out a traditional 8 by 11 inch 28-page view book, now the idyllic campus photos and glowing student testimonies live within an iPad icon. And so he created this free, I guess this school is in St. Peters, Minnesota. He created the free app months ago. And so the way to get, like, if you're interested in the school, I guess, is that you can just download this free app. And, you know, it's very smart because it shows that the college is on the cutting edge and progressive, but also the college saves money because each, like, one of these, like, printed view books costs $5 to print and $1.70 to mail. So I think you're going to see a lot of other schools do this too. I mean, we've seen catalogs, you know, for buying stuff from stores, like Nordstrom has a catalog. So in a way, what these apps are like brochures for colleges. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Ivy Leagues follow this, because really the iPad facilitates getting rid of paper. And why not have a free app or a free magazine of your university? So I think this is going to be a trend. One of the things that we've seen in the past is some people get in trouble by using their iPad or other iDevice while on an airplane. And the most famous case of that was, of course, Alec Baldwin, who didn't want to stop playing on his iPad Word with Friends, and then he got get thrown off the plane. But, you know, the whole thing is ridiculous because clearly the use of electronic devices while you're about to take off it doesn't really cause any problems. I think it's a big lie, okay? And here's why. Because I've flown many, many times on many, many planes where half the people during takeoff are not shutting off their electronic devices. And there's never been a problem, not any of a problem. And I've never heard of a plane going down where they later determined that, people were using electronic devices during takeoff or during landing. The whole thing is bogus. It's ridiculous. And this story, I think, should really accelerate getting rid of these ridiculous rules on planes. ABC News reports that a teenager who's got severe autism and uses the iPad to communicate. In other words, she has difficulty speaking, but she can communicate using the iPad. She wouldn't shut off the iPad during takeoff, and she, got in trouble. It says here, a teenager with autism, ABC News has this on their site, was flying on American Airlines, was nearly forced to turn off the iPad she uses to communicate. It says here that Carly Fleischman, who has been profiled on ABC News, was flying from L.A. to her home in Toronto on August 10th when she was approached by a flight attendant who told her she needed to turn off her iPad during takeoff. The trouble is, it says in the article, if Fleischman can't use her iPad, she can't communicate because of autism. The article, by the way, is by Genevieve Shaw Brown, and I'll have a link to this. Basically, it sounded like, it says at the end of the article, the flight attendant who approached Fleischman was eventually overruled by the pilot, who said Fleischman could leave her iPad on, and then apparently, Fleischman's whatever people and her met up with the pilot again at customs, and he told Dalla and Fleischman that the policy, quote, was ridiculous, end quote. Further, Dalla said that the pilot said pilots themselves use iPads during taking off and landing. And John Nance, who's an aviation consultant for ABC News, said there is virtually no evidence that any consumer electronics can or have any deleterious effect on the aircraft systems, and least of all would be an iPad in airplane mode. He goes on to say the slavish, we're just following orders response of airline personnel in the face of unusual challenges is sad at best and reprehensible at worst. So, this is ridiculous. People should write American Airlines and complain about this. This poor girl, her only way to communicate, and she had it on airplane mode, she suffers from something known as oral motor apraxia, which means her thoughts are clear in her mind, but they get jumbled up on the way to her mouth. And, how would you like it if you can't speak or communicate if you're a child with your parents while you're taking off, and because they've removed like a device that helps you do that? So shame on you, stewardess. But, hooray for the pilot from American Airlines, because he had common sense and he did the right thing. So, very, very good move by the pilot. Now, turning to apps, one of the things that we've seen people do with apps is have them be sort of companion pieces to like movies or other events. Wired Magazine has a nice article on August 21st entitled "The Hunger Games Adventures for iPad Will Immerse You in the World of Panem." Now, I haven't seen The Hunger Games, so I'm not going to download the app because I would like to see the movie. But there is I guess it's also been on Facebook, but now I guess there's an iPad app that, sort of takes you through the world of the Hunger Games. So you probably should check it out. It sounds like it's free. I think it's free. And, if you're into the movie, you'd probably want to check it out. So this is a trend we're seeing, and I think it'll continue. Now, one cool app that I used to find videos and, play videos on my iPad is ShowU, and it got a decent upgrade recently, and TechCrunch.com, I guess, really liked it. They had a headline by Ryan Lawler entitled, "ShowU's new iPad app is like a remote control for your Apple TV." And so the new version, they say, does one better. It says not only does the new iPad app add a lot of the same social features that makes the iPhone version so great, but it also adds Retina display support and dual screen multitasking. And basically he says what that is that if you have an Apple TV, you can now use your ShowU as your remote control for a wide range of online video. It says it uses AirPlay to allow you to send videos from the iPad to the Apple TV, and that's nothing new, but ShowU has incorporated something they say is pretty cool that will allow users to queue up videos to be watched and watch them even if you leave the app to check your email or browse the web. So I think that's something unique. I haven't tried this, but the idea is you could queue up a whole bunch of videos and then, do something else on your iPad. You don't have to go back and then restart each individual video. So I think that's really cool. Here is they don't really highlight that in their update. So it's free, ShowU. Really, it's basically it has it's got social media aspects to it, and I've used it. Now, I wonder, though, if the Twitter social integration is going to be in there, because one of the things that ShowU does is it can show you the videos that people you follow on Twitter or Facebook have linked to. But I don't know, Twitter's recently been sort of screwing over other media companies or apps or partners and trying to bring the entire Twitter experience into Twitter. So I don't know if that's going to last. But look, I think it's a really good app. It's called ShowU. If you're looking for content, videos, it'll have stuff on the internet, on YouTube, stuff that's popular. It'll recommend stuff. But also, I think that one of the coolest parts is that you can see the video of people that you sort of follow. So it's a very cool app. You can sign in with Twitter or Facebook. So check it out. It's called ShowU. Now, one of the things that people like to do with their iPad is either check the weather or check the time. And I remember one of the first cool apps that I got turned the iPad into a great big clock. Well, there's been a weather app that's been pretty good called Living Earth, and it recently got updated to version 2.0, and it's both a world clock and weather. And right now it's kind of a bargain. It's only 99 cents, and a number of people have given it a good review. And, for 99 cents, if you're looking for weather or a clock, this seems to be pretty good. It says, enjoy a stunning live 3D simulation of our planet with global weather forecasts and world clock for cities around the world. View live global cloud patterns, hurricanes, and tropical storms. Explore and experience amazing weather dynamics on our planet with real-time 3D weather maps and typhoon and hurricane tracking. And, so it's a very cool map. And if you've got kids, it could be very cool. So it's only 99 cents. And let's see, it's only 40, it weighs in at 50 megabytes, so it takes up a little room. And it also works on the iPhone and iPod Touch. You know what, I think I'm going to take a look at it and show you. So I just downloaded Living Earth, and this is a first look at it, and you're seeing it for the first time as I am. And this is on my regular iPad too, not the Retina. And you're looking at it it's basically going to my browser on my computer through the Display Recorder jailbreak app. But it looks really cool. And so you can sort of move the Earth around, and I guess you can see weather patterns. You can zoom in with your fingers. That's kind of cool. Let's see, in settings, you can edit your cities. I've got Cupertino, New York, London, Shanghai, Sydney. I'll keep that. And let's see, how do you move? I see. I'm trying to see how you move. Oh, I see. In the bottom, you can move your city. I've got New York City now. It looks very involved, and what I like is you have a clock in the top right-hand corner, and you can make it bigger. There's two modes, and you've got the temperature on the left top. And let's see, if you zoom in, you can see the weather patterns in the Northeast United States. Now, in addition to the settings on the left bottom, let's see, you've got this bottom. What does that do? I'm not sure what that button does. Maybe it brings you home. Oh, that's what it does. Watch. Yeah, that's the traditional like home on the map. You've got display show sunrise times, bright night clouds, keep display on. That's kind of cool if you want to keep it on all night, sort of as a display. You can change the temperature to Celsius. You can have the wind speed. Let's see what else. You can see clouds, temperature, humidity, wind, temperature mean, temperature max, temperature minimum, humidity. So you've got all sorts of settings to see the all sorts of weather stuff. So look, this is only 99 cents. I think this is a great app. I could definitely use it with my kids just to show them how on the earth you have different things. Like, for example, here's just the temperature, and you can see how the temperature on the earth really, is different in different parts of the earth. So this is the night side, the dark side. So I really like this. I think this is a very good app, particularly for a mere 99 cents. I mean, I think it's normally $2. Now, we don't have a storm right now in New York, so you can't really see some sort of dramatic weather on the map. Now, I've put on humidity here, and you can see the humidity is high on the East Coast. We see 90th percentile, wherever it's like dark blue. There's obviously lower humidity out west. What else? Oh, and then you've got like a button for like active storms. It tells you, and if you click on them, it brings you to the active storm. So that's pretty cool. So you can follow big storms around the world. Here's Isaac tropical storm, and it takes you right to it. So I think this is a really clever app, and I think for 99 cents it's kind of a bargain. Here's one called, what's it called? Tembin, and that's all the way on the other side of the earth. So you just press a button, you go back to your home, and you can take a picture of the screenshot, and then you can save it to the photo album. You can use it with your Twitter service. What else? You can just quickly email it. So this is very cool. Let's see. For the clock, you've got a lot of options too. You've got an alarm that's built in, and you can use, I guess, the standard alarm tools. You can have snooze. So I'm just wondering if you can make the number like a lot bigger. I don't know. I don't think so. So this is, I really like this app, and I highly recommend it. I just purchased it. It's only 99 cents, so check it out. Okay, an app that you have that might finally be good is the Facebook app, and it got recently updated on the 23rd, August 23rd, and they basically rewrote it so that it's written as a native app, and that means it's written in Objective-C and written Xcode, because I think what they did before was it was written in HTML5 or HTML, and these apps that are sort of like web apps that are integrated, they're not the same. I've been playing around with trying to develop an app and playing around with different formats, but here's the big thing. It's version 5.0, both for the iPhone and the iPad, and they've said we've rebuilt the app so it's faster and easier to use. Scrolling through news feed is faster than ever. News banners let you tap quickly to see more stories. No need to refresh. Photo opens fast and closes with one downward swipe. Instant access to your notifications. And, I've been playing with it on the iPad, and it definitely feels zippier and much more responsive. I think it's just definitely a much better app. I don't know what they did to it. I think their main thing was, writing it in better code. So it's definitely a good app. So if you've been using the Facebook app on your iPhone or iPad, you want to update it, because this newer version in better code is much, much better. So check it out. It's obviously it's free. Okay, so here's a little funny story which really shows you how times have changed, and that even people who were skeptical about the iPad and electronic books is now embracing the iPad. And the story's in the New York Times by David Streitfeld. He has an article, came out on August 17th, 2012, entitled "A Champion of the Book Takes to the iPad." So he starts off by saying, devotees of the old-fashioned print book who are distressed by the onrushing digital future, and there are more of them out there than you may think, cherish William H. Gass's 1999 essay, A Defense of the Book. And the writer goes on to say he owns multiple copies, including the original appearance in Harper's Magazine. But he says, to cut to the chase, here's the crazy thing. He's now, that guy, Gass has now written a 15,000-word essay called Abstractions Arrive, Having Been There All the Time. And it's a collaboration with the noted photographer Michael Eastman. But here's the thing. It can only be read on the iPad equipped with iBooks 2, and it costs $4.99, and it's published by somebody named Stephen Scheckenberg, who runs the excellent Reading William Gass blog. So, it is kind of funny. It says here in the description, the iPad-only volume pairs a penetrating 15,000-word essay on modern art and photography by William H. Gass, a writer of bookworms Michael Silverback has called our greatest living writer of prose in America, with the Abstraction series of photographs by internationally collected photographer Michael Eastman. Gass and Eastman are friends, neighbors, and collaborators, have partnered on many other projects. So it says here, the writing in Abstractions Arrive is quintessential Gass, erudite, playful, probing, fun. And it says Eastman images, which iPad users can now tap to isolate and make larger, are some of the most striking in his decade-long oeuvre. So, if you're into this sort of, good writing, and you're a fan of Gass, you should maybe get this $5 ebook on the iPad. And it looks like it's got a lot of pictures and things, and so it's 40 pages in length. But it's pretty ironic that somebody who was sort of defending the traditional book is now on the iPad. Just shows you how times have changed. Okay, so I mentioned this I think before, but Nordstrom, which is a really nice department store, has come out with its own, or updated its own iPad app. And actually, it's just come out because the update really is what's making it a public release. It says here, version 1.01. So basically, it's the description is, fashion's always a tap away with Nordstrom's iPad app. Browse and buy and get inspired by the latest looks from your favorite brands. You can customize your dashboard with departments you shop the most. That's actually good. Get product information and read customer reviews. Add items you love to your dressing room and build outfits around them. Shop the current catalog. Sign in with your Nordstrom account for secure checkout, so you can actually buy stuff from there. So, we've come a long, long way from the Sears catalog, which was that big, thick thing that used to sort of be there. Oh, wait, somehow I got into Facebook thing. All right, here's Nordstrom again. So, it's free. It's essentially an interactive catalog. It's only 19.8 megabytes in size. If you shop at Nordstrom, if you've got a Nordstrom account, if you just like shopping, here's a nice app. So check it out. Another app you might want to try out is the Pinterest app for the iPad. It recently got updated and fixed, bugs at login and speed improvements. And, if you're not familiar with Pinterest, it's essentially a social network. You can get an account and you pin photos and contents onto your Pinterest account, and it's apparently, particularly among women, I think it's a huge social network that's rapidly growing. You can see here in the App Store, screenshots of what the app looks like. I have a Pinterest account, but I haven't been using it a lot. Frankly, I'm suffering from a little social network fatigue because how many social networks can you be in? Google Plus, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest. And now there's the app.net thing where it's just like $5 to join. So, but if you're, there are people, Pinterest does look interesting. I may, do more with it, but you should check it out. It's a free app, and it goes with your Pinterest account. Okay, another app that you might want to get for your iPad that got updated to version 3.0 and which is also free is GetGlue. And what GetGlue is, it's a way to basically do sort of social interaction while you're watching TV, movie, or sports. So it says here, always know what to watch with your personalized guide. Chat with friends while watching TV. Discover new favorite movies and shows. And it says here, in version 3, you get a personalized guide for TV, movies, and sports based on what you like. Get recommendations for shows you'll want to start watching. Check in and chat with friends and fans while you watch. Enjoy the best clips, photos, and articles for your favorite shows and movies. Never miss a key premiere, finale, or major event that's important to you. Unlock stickers and other rewards from your favorite shows. And it says here that there's 3 million people using this thing. I haven't played around with it, again, in part because I'm sort of suffering from social network, fatigue. But it looks like you could basically, follow a show, and while it's playing live, you can chat with people just about the show. TV shows like The Walking Dead, Boardwalk Empire, Family Guy. So look, I think this is clever, and apparently there's a big following. So if you're into want to tweet with people or interact with people while you're watching a show, you should check it out. The ratings generally seem to be positive. It's gotten, out of 157 ratings, it's gotten, for the current version, it got 3 out of 5 stars. So, I don't know. Check it out. It's called GetGlue for iPad. It only weighs in at 3.8 megabytes, so it's not too heavy. Doesn't take up too much memory on your iPad. Okay, so another free app that you probably want to check out if you're into content is Boxfish Live Guide for iPad. And it's a free app. It weighs in at 7.2 megabytes. And, it's described as a live guide iPad app. And it says it's the TV guide reinvented. What's on TV right now with our live feeds from every word spoken on TV. And it says here, DirecTV and TiVo users use your tablet as a remote to tune in to what you want to watch. Remote support for many more providers on the way. So it says here, live feeds break down what's happening on live TV into constantly updating content themes, sports, news, business, and celebrity. You can also build your own custom live feeds, and you can have favorites let you pull what's happening on your favorite channel. Trending shows what topics, people, and events are being talked about most throughout the world of TV. In version 1.03 that just came out, there are more channels added for greater discovery, alerts, functionality improvement. Now get program alerts, real-time mentions graph. So this is similar to the GetGlue thing in that it's, or ShowU, in that it's trying to give you content. But this one seems to be more like TV Guide. It's trying to show you what's on TV and, what's coming on in terms of subject matters like sports, custom, business, celebrity. So it might be a better way to sort of interact with your TV. Ultimately, we're going to have regular television, replaced. But in the interim, Boxfish looks like a useful tool. So check that out. That's free. Now, another free app that just came out that looks like fun involves sort of social networking and music, and it's called SongPop Free. And I haven't played this yet, but it looks like a lot of fun. It says, are you ready to rock? Listen to song clips to test your music recognition, then send challenges to your friends Prove that you have true music master with SongPop. And so it features from today's hits to classic rock. Start with 6 basic playlists. It says there's something for everyone. Okay, it says play with thousands of songs from the golden oldies of today, and you can invite your friends to quick challenges and see who has the best music memory, and you can unlock new playlists featuring more genres, more artists, and special song collections. Pull to refresh. So look, this seems to be like, you play some notes, and then your friend who's also logged into the app tries to guess it, and you score points. Now, what I don't like with a lot of these free things, it has in-app purchases. You earn coins, and it says here you can buy 400 coin pack for $2, 1,200 coin pack for $5, 10,000 coins it goes up to for $25. And I tell my kids I'm not going to do any in-app purchases. I don't believe in that stuff. I think it's just sort of taking you. So I would recommend you just get this and play without buying any coins internally and just see how well you do. So it's called SongPop Free. Now, another free movie or video content app that you might want to check out is something called Crackle, and it's called Crackle-Movies and TV. And I guess it was recently updated to version 3.0. So it says it's been completely redesigned based on feedback from 11 million users. But what does it do? And basically, you can watch full-length Hollywood movies and TV series, free download to app, free to watch, unlimited on-demand viewing, new movies and TV episodes added monthly. Genres include action, anime, comedy, crime, horror, thriller, science fiction, and anime, optimized for both the iPhone, iPad, and iPhone, iPod, and iPad. Browse movies, TV originals. You can also stream high-quality video via 3G, 4G, or Wi-Fi, and you can also use AirPlay. So what are the movies? It says it has hundreds of movies, including Pineapple Express, Big Daddy, Joe Dirt, Layer Kirk, Mr. Deeds, Panic Room, SWAT, Snatch, Stranger Than Fiction, Saving Silverman, and more. And for TV, it says it includes series Seinfeld, Spider-Man, Married with Children, The Three Stooges, plus over 25 series and 1,000 plus episodes of anime, including Blood and Queen's Blade. So it looks like, it's giving you free movie content. It says Crackle is one of the fastest growing digital entertainment networks, offering quality movies and TV series from Columbia Pictures, TriStar, Screen Gems, Sony Pictures. And, my sense is maybe they're giving you commercials or something in it. I haven't used this, but it looks like the content is free. What else? I don't know. It looks interesting. At least they're highlighting that you can get Seinfeld with this. But also it's hard to find sometimes the Three Stooges. So it seems to have some sort of classic movies, not maybe the most famous movies, but it has some content. But the point is, if you add up all these apps that give you free stuff in terms of video content, it's like having different channels, and eventually you might be able to just replace your cable TV or cable box and not pay anything because there's so much free stuff. So check out Crackle. It seems to have some sort of library of movies and TV shows that is, somewhat entertaining. Okay, so the next app I didn't buy yet, but it looks intriguing. It's only $4.99, and it's called Coach's Eye. And the thing is, it's made by TechSmith Corporation, and I think they're the ones who make the Camtasia screen recording apps, which are very good, and I use that on my Mac. So what is Coach's Eye? And this seems really fascinating. Basically, it gives you that function. Ever watch those football games where they draw lines on the video and they show the video again, and then they draw lines to show how you could better do what you're doing? So basically, that's what it allows you to do. It says, you can't fix what you can't see. Video capture with slow motion review, drawing tools, and simple sharing. So basically, it says here, record video. Our built-in video camera makes it easy to record and review your athletes' performance on the field, analyze their technique on the spot, and make immediate corrections. So there's something known as slow motion review. Our unique flywheel is optimized to allow fluid, precise video scrubbing. You'll be amazed at how easy it is to identify and review technique or play execution. And you can also review on a big screen. You can use, you can connect it by AirPlay. Now this is really cool, or HDMI. And there's drawing tools. So you can draw over the video using lines, arrows, circles, squares, and freehand tools, marking up and breaking down footage like a pro is drop dead simple, it says. And you can import video, import existing video from your own device's camera roll via email or directly from the Dropbox app, then mark it up and break it down. Audio voiceover, record your thoughts while scrubbing through and breaking down footage. Your voice will be synced to the video's slow motion, scrubbing and drawing annotations. And there's simple, it says video sharing. You can email or text message video directly to coaches, athletes, or parents. Videos can be viewed on their computer or mobile device. You can put it up on YouTube. You can share on Dropbox, the camera roll. You can share it with other apps that register or handle the .movie videos, like Goodreader, Dropbox. And you can collaborate. You can share a movie via SMS to anyone else with Coach's Eye installed, and then there's a video timeline, so you can get a free online account to see a timeline of videos you've shared or viewed. Now, I got to tell you, I think I'm going to get this because this is, I've got kids, they're learning sports. So, for example, with tennis, you could take a video of them like throwing a toss and then showing them, like drawing on it, saying, no, the toss has to go up here. Or if you've got a golf stroke. So it's great for that. But you know what? It's got other good uses too, which they don't talk about. The fact that you can import video into it means you could, for example, do a video how-to and then draw on it to like explain to people like how to do like the how-to. So, for example, you could use a screen recording app like Display Recorder and then import the video of like the app and then show people how to use the app by circling things with arrows and stuff. So I think this is really clever. I think Camtasia is a really good company, and I'm going to try it out. Right now, it's only $4.99. It works on both the iPhone and the iPad. So I think it's pretty cool. Now, Zynga, the gaming company that was first, big with Facebook apps, has a new iPad game that looks kind of, interesting. It's $6.99, and it came out on August 16th. It's called Horn. And what is Horn? Now, I haven't played with it, but it's a third-person action-adventure game, it says, with a completely unique experience where anyone can fully explore and enjoy a beautiful and engaging console-style world, all controllable by touch gestures. And it says you play as young blacksmith apprentice named Horn, who wakes up to find your village and lands overrun by large, fantastic, and sometimes humorous monsters. It is revealed these creatures are actually the people and animals from your village transformed by a curse, and you alone have the power to free them. On your incredible adventure, you carry the loud-mouthed head of one such fantastic creature with you, a somewhat uncooperative and ill-tempered but grudgingly helpful sidekick. Along with his new companion, you must use your sword, crossbow, trusty musical horn, and wits to explore the lands, defeat the enemies, and solve puzzles in your quest to undo the curse that engulfs your home. So it says here there are accessible controls that anyone can use: walking, jumping, crawling, even grapple hook, touch-friendly melee combat. So it looks like it's very touch-friendly. So, if you're into new gaming experience, the visuals here do look kind of interesting, and it is sort of like one of these immersive world things. I'm not a big gamer. The rating's out of 594, which is a lot. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Here's one 3-star from somebody who says, I love this game, but I keep getting kicked from the app. I can't leave the village without the game crashing. So another person gives it 5 stars. It says, Phosphor Games has created a beautiful game here. The story is great. Person likes it. So, again, it has in-app purchases, which is something I can't stand, but that seems to be the trend. But if you're looking for a new game, it's $6.99, and it is released by Zynga. So, it is a very major, distributor. Now, one of the apps that I previously reviewed got updated, and that's the Perspective app. And basically, the Perspective app, if you want the full functionality of it, it costs like $20. But basically, it's an app that Horace Daydu, who's the asimco.com blog, I think collaborated on, and he's sort of involved in it. And the big thing about this app is it allows you to import data and create motion graphs. These are sort of interactive graphs. And Asimco and Horace Daydu really played with motion graphs. And you can see in the screenshots here, and basically a motion graph, you can move a slider around and it changes the data. It's very interactive. But the new version now allows you to have playback of progress and pause. Has retina graphics, and stories can sync to continuous or sound and video tracks, and more flexible data importing, and print and email as a PDF, and it fixes many bug fixes. And, but I do think I'm a little frustrated with the app because I think it's very clever. I think the motion graphs are the best part of the app, but the app itself is sort of like creating like a slideshow or a PowerPoint or a keynote. In the app, you create stories, and you can one slide of the story could be like an interactive chart. And the app does allow you to sort of record time with it and speak into it and sort of make it into like a movie. And then you can publish it, But the thing is, to publish it, you got to register with the people behind it and I guess get their permission to publish it. And, I think the app could be greatly improved and make it more popular, and here's how. So, anyways, here's how I think Perspective could be improved. Now, I had a little exchange on Twitter with the people behind Perspective, Pixa, Horace Daydu, Asimco, something called Rodin Art, and we went back and forth, and the point I was trying to make to them is that I think the real value added of Perspective is that it allows you to create these motion charts. Now, the app can do other things. It allows you to create the motion charts by importing data into a slide that's part of a bigger story, and then you can record audio and add other content to the slides, similar that you could to, let's say, a keynote or a PowerPoint. But the real value, I think the real reason people want Perspective, and at least why I bought it, was because, to make these motion charts, that's the really cool part about it. But here's the part that I don't like, which is that it's kind of a closed environment, right? Yes, you can use AirPlay to show your Perspective story at a conference, but there's not an easy way to share it with other people, right? You have to, and this is what I didn't like, you have to register with them to get their approval to be a publisher. If you buy an app, that creates content, you should just be able to create content and share it with other people without getting approval. And the thing that I don't seem to like is that these stories you can only play in another Perspective app. Now, they did add this thing recently where you can export to PDF, but the PDF export doesn't really save the interactive, motion chart. So I was going back and forth with them saying, you got to make it more open, have it export. It would be great if the motion chart could be exported into, let's say, Excel, so that it creates an Excel motion chart, because it would be an easy way to create a motion chart. Or how about export it into Keynote? Now, maybe Keynote doesn't support a motion chart, but it does support video. So you could maybe just record the video of your motion chart and export it to, export the movie and then use it in Keynote. So it'd be nice if you could, right now you can just export the story as a PDF, but it would be nice if you could export the story as a movie and then open it somewhere else. And the other thing I would do is they should get rid of this whole registering with them to be a publisher. And they should also allow you to sort of export this thing directly to YouTube to allow you to publish it to YouTube. And I think what they're ultimately trying to do is, I think they're trying to control it too much. I think, I think they want to make sort of a platform for like sharing and using these stories. But I think it's going to be a much more useful app if you just make an easy way for people to create motion charts and share it. So anyway, so check it out. I do think it's a very intriguing app. I do think the part that's the motion graphs are very intriguing, but it's pricey. It's essentially like $19 or $20. And I think for that, it should be a little more open. I think they're going to get more users if they just allow you to, export stuff much more easily. So check it out. Okay, so thanks for listening to episode 109 of the iPad podcast. This is Lex at Max Future. You can help this podcast by giving it a positive review in the iTunes store. Go to YouTube or Blip TV or to maxfuture.com and check out the blog there. And thanks for your support. And let's, hopefully by this time next week, we'll have a verdict from the big Apple-Samsung trial. So thanks for listening and see you later.
This has been a Max Future production.